efforts have come to, but I'm just so ashamed of my government and my people for not living up to your expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, Vima. If I can go a little bit deeper, I've always wanted to know where that trigger point is in someone's head that makes them think outside that square. I'm not going to buy those eggs.
I have some comments on that.
Yeah, absolutely, please.
So I think two main points that I would make. One, is this better? Yeah. One, there we go. One is that social norms are very important, right? We're all up here, and we're very conscious that we are not wearing shorts or have a stain on our shirt. People care about what other people think of them. So social norms are very, very powerful. And the media helps create social norms and really determines those and helps inform those over time. And so an example of ones that, at least in North America, that have changed over the last number of years, the Hummer, those really big, crazy trucks, and what are called McMansions, which are very big houses, those were held in much higher regard, I don't know, 5 years ago than they are now. So that's an example of social norms. So media really can help slowly push that. So if you were, in buying the cheaper eggs, if you're walking up to the cash register and the social norm is such that buying the cheaper eggs is not very cool or looked down upon, you might change which eggs you buy. So that's one part. The other is that a big reason that we are here in the first place is because of convenience. So I think fundamentally, I very much included, I think we're generally fairly lazy. And a lot of life is about convenience. So convenience is the real killer. So we have to, businesses, the citizen, the government, we have to work to create systems that just make sense and make it convenient for people to choose the better eggs. And so that might be the right taxes and externalizing costs such that the cheaper eggs are clearly not as good as the more expensive ones. So the other is convenience and basically building the right incentives so that you want to choose the right ones. So those are my two main points.
I agree with what you also said about inspiration. I think we've been doing a lot by fear. And what we're talking about with inspiration is a very, very simple way to change the conversation from you have to do it. And it's a bit like when I was a very young lad at school. They'd teach you about hell, and they'd make you scared about the consequences of doing things wrong, and it didn't stop anybody doing anything. So how do you get people to do the right thing? Comes to inspiration, and usually that comes with great storytelling. And at the moment, when we try to inspire people, we inspire them with facts. Here are the logical reasons why you should not buy those eggs. And I think we have to elevate it to a lifestyle choice. Here is a way you can live, which is appealing, inspirational, noble. And we have to start showcasing that. And if you look at how successful TV programs work, successful media programs work, how did it suddenly become very cool to own a chopper? Well, they didn't tell you how to build an American chopper. They showed you the lifestyle. They inspired you with those stories. And if we could capture some of the stories that I heard today about the sustainable fishing village, if Hayden, you had the green safari tour of the world, where you just brought us the most inspirational story from people living the right way, you could start a conversation about the future and not about the instructions. And I think that would be part of the solution.
Yeah, I think that unsustainable practices, as you've heard, if you've been here throughout the conference, are becoming very unacceptable, as are meaningless, trivial lifestyle reality programs.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I'm with you.
Right.
I don't want to see any more Kardashians.
Oh, hello, really? Okay, so it is the media's responsibilities to stop buying into this rubbish, because nobody really wants to watch it unless they're trying to zone out. And even then, it's really not worthwhile. Okay? So the media has a really huge responsibility, and I'm just going to be really simple here, because for those of us who attend these conferences, and for those of us who have a slight interest, we need to be the vehicle, the translation service for the average Joe on the street who doesn't understand some of the terminologies that are talked about in these conferences or amongst scientists or amongst greenies, they just don't get it, you know, and it's not their fault, you know. So we need to create interesting lifestyle programs that are educational, that raise awareness, but it needs to be done with caution because nobody wants the word green shoved down their throat. In fact, in the West, green is we don't really like the word so much anymore. Well, not we, but you know, it's not. We're past that. You know, you need to look at the educational systems. You know, you need to look at farming and water and all of the elements and poverty and population control that all contribute to climate change and food. You know, and exactly inspiring programs. So then we need to create this need for it. The people want this information. Hope. You know, so. No more, the goal for me, I think, and the goal for media should be that we don't want to preach to the converted anymore. We want to find ways that are interesting to hook people in through their various interests. And by the way, they learn that these things have great effects on their environment.
Thank you very much, everyone. Very, very interesting views. We're going to open the floor to some questions because I'm sure there's some people with some. It's a very, very interesting topic because I feel we're at the pivotal point in our time that there's so many different areas of social media and traditional media and channels to go down that we can make change. I think that the panelists up here are classic examples of people that have seen it, done it, and walking the walk and talking the talk. Would anyone be interested in asking a question?
Maybe while...
We've got, can we have a microphone down here, please?
I just want to make one comment while they're coming there. I'm going to forget the comment. Oh, yes. I mean, one thing both Nadia and I are doing, we've created media that's really very green focused. And so in a way, we've sort of built this green area, and we're trying to get people to come to it. I would say that if you can, a really good approach is actually to bring the green to people, to where they already are. You know, so if we could integrate these messages into MTV, into The Simpsons, into The Office, into the popular programs, that's where people already are, and that's the way. Following with what you were saying, green becomes, it's part of the message, but it's not the whole message. Like, people want to watch those shows, and if you can integrate green content, go to where the people are, that can be really effective.
Very wise words. Thank you very much, mate. Sorry, so your question, if you can just direct it at either the panel or a particular person, that would be lovely.
My name is Ian. I actually work for the same company as Matt, but it's not a loaded question, but it is for Matt, which is, how do you drive ratings for this content? What's going to make it attractive? Because ratings are going to bring ad dollars, and then it's obviously going to bring eyeballs.
I mean, I've been fairly disappointed with ratings, so your question seems to be a very TV-led question. Last week I went through the entire TV channel, and there was absolutely no content really focused on this issue. If you wanted to find 24 hours of Discovery Turbo, cars, you could. But if you actually wanted to sit down and engage with this, it was very, very difficult. So I don't think the ratings are there because there's not content airtime space. And I would love to see Discovery Green, 24 hours of this topic broadcast, encouraging people to make content for it. I'd like to see YouTube Green, so places and channels that you can actually go and find these spaces, because at the moment there's no ratings because it's scattered in between programs. CNN have a green segment, and there's a little green little moment, but there's no content to go for, and therefore there's no ratings. So I think we have to pressure the people who hold the channels to create the space and then feed the content in. Because if you look at a great movie like Home, it's shown, I'm sure many of you have seen it, there's 16 million views around the world. But have you ever seen that broadcast on mainstream TV? And the answer would be probably not. So I think working with the media owners to get the space and the content is probably the first step, because at the moment you won't get ratings because there's nothing to watch. Anybody else want to